really amazes me when people are surprised that I own my sexy after growing and birthing 3 boys. Because how in the hell do you think they got here? Dead ass. So, it was a random Sunday afternoon, and I remember getting a call from my manager. And, we were working on like different brands that I can, pitch myself to, working on brand partnerships, because typically when I'm looking to partner with a brand, it has to be organic and authentic to me, my lifestyle, my narrative, everything that encompasses Kadeen, the work woman, the mom, the wife. So she said to me, Kadeen, I feel like we may have to put a little bit more diverse content on your page, because some of the feedback that I've been getting from these brands is that, Kadeen's page is awesome. She has lots of followers, great engagement, but her page is a little risque. So I was like, risque? Because I post swimsuits and whatnot, and because I, own my sexy, which I think I'm allowed to do. And she said, yeah, so maybe we should post more pictures of like you with the boys, at home doing some cooking or baking together, the kids on the playground. That will probably diversify your page and make it then more, appetizing and appealing to these brands. So I kind of was like, all right, process that for a second. And I'm like, you know what, that's cool. Let me call up my photographer. And I was like, we can plan some kids-centered activities that we can then post, me doing, or post me in the kitchen and whatnot, because that's what I guess moms are supposed to do, right? Then I was like, that. What I'm not going to do is now curtail my content to then put up this facade or this image of what they feel a mother is, and I'm not gonna, be in the realm of what that is to them, whoever these said brands are. And it was so funny because literally a couple minutes later, my husband's sitting next to me on the couch, and I hadn't told him about this conversation I'm having via text with our manager. So he busts out laughing, and I'm like, what are you laughing at? So he shows me a DM from person that just follows, I guess, the both of us. And it's a screenshot of a photo that I posted in a swimsuit. And I was posing on a rock. I dropped it because y'all know I drop it. Okay? That's just something that I do.
On demand.
On demand at any given time. Because, my knees work. My husband likes it. So they sent the picture to my husband and then said, wow, look at your wife posing on this rock. Why do you allow her to do things like that? Oh, Lord. Allow is the key word there. Ooh. So I'm going to just leave story time right there, and we're going to come back and discuss it. All right, y'all, karaoke time. And if you have read the description of today's episode, you might know who I have coming on the mic because, listen, let's face it. When I have such talent in my space, why would I get on the microphone and attempt to do anything but talk to y'all? So that being said, I'm going to turn it over to one of our amazing guests that I have today with me that I'm happy to welcome back to the show. What you gonna sing for us today, man?
Well, since all these people want to be coming and giving their opinions, we're going to take it a little pop rock, and we're going to tell them, it's my life. Hey, don't you forget.
Last time I checked.
Ooh, it's my life.
All right, now.
All right, I don't know what the last line is there, but it's my life. Mind your business.
That's it. Yo, I love it. Now, listen, I feel like the air turned off.
The air definitely turned off.
I'm sweating. Okay, I was sweating down here, and then I was like, did I just sniff myself and he's recording? Because I definitely was like,
OMG.
Yo. When keeping it real gets real.
Okay.
I was like, ooh.
Today's episode is going to be so amazing because I feel like it simultaneously went off as I told my story.
Yeah.
Because we got heated up in here.
Hot.
Melanie, in one clean swoop, show them how you take off your earrings in one clean swoop. That's it. That's it.
Okay, there's no games played.
Okay, because my girls is ready to pull up for me.
And I'm going to leave them off.
You know?
Just because.
I had my girls ready to pull up for me on the brand side, and then also for this DM that my husband's getting with somebody trying to check my husband. You know what I mean? So I had the girls ready to pull up. But I have to let y'all know who I have today. It's funny because I'm here looking at my breakdown, and I don't really have like a whole eloquent, write-up on each of y'all and what y'all do. So you know what? Maybe I'm going to do it differently. Instead of me just like giving a whole spiel about who you are, how about you tell us who you are? First, to my right today, let me tell you, this has been a long time coming, okay, guys? Because I've wanted Ashley and I to get on this podcast together, and I knew she had to come on for a girls episode because the thing I admire and love so much about you, Ashley, with your presence on social media, because that's for the most part where I found you, with the exception of seeing you at the Black Love Summit a couple, is it a year now, I think?
So.
Who knows, because this has been like the never-ending year. But since then, I've been, you're one of my favorite follows on Instagram, so y'all have to make sure y'all get her handles and stuff at the end of the show. But Ashley, Chea, please tell us who you are, what you do, all of your superpowers.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, first, my name is Ashley Chea. I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio. I've been living in Cali for 6 years. I'm a former ballet dancer.
Love it.
I'm a writer, an author, a mother of 3 daughters. I'm currently working on a TV script, which is amazing. So, I think that's important. I always say that so I can make it happen.
Of course. Put it out there, baby.
Yeah. So, I'm mostly a writer, but you know what? My best friend's dad called me an instigator of change.
Ooh, so I like that.
Yes. I like to push people to be better and to just, let's question things and not just be followers. So
I love that.
I feel like that's my purpose in life.
I appreciate that about you, Ashley. And we have a Sagittarius Capricorn situation going on here.
Ooh, I love my Sagittarius.
All right now.
Oh,
and my
so
mom's
much.
a Capricorn. My grandmother is. So I'm always in good company with amazing Capricorn women.
We
so it
are
only
the
made
best.
sense. I mean, y'all are cool. Y'all are cool.
Oh, so your mom's just cool?
Y'all are cool. No, okay.
that's
She
what
is
I
a better
thought.
woman than me. I will say that.
See what I'm saying?
And to my left now, back on the show, Miss Melanie Fiona.
Hey.
What's up, Anna?
What's up, Anna? What's going on?
Oh, girl,
Ready roti?
Same thing,
Yo,
same
I just
thing.
craving a roti and a double quick
Girl,
sometimes.
me too.
I find it.
Me too.
Oh, jeez. Well, yes,
I love it.
That's my part-time voice, Melanie Fiona.
I
What's up,
love it.
everybody? Singer, songwriter, mother, wellness advocate. I am a Cancer, so we be in the
I
fields.
love that
Same.
too.
We be in the
Yes,
fields.
like my sister.
But really, I'm just like, my passion really is community, and my passion is vulnerability, and my passion is allowing women to feel strong through vulnerability. And that's kind of what motherhood has taught me. That's what my career has taught me. And that's what you beautiful women have taught me. So I'm happy to be back. This is fun. The last time I was here, we got into deep conversations about marriage, which my wedding did not happen. And it's all good.
Updates.
We're all together.
Updates.
We're still together. But
love it.
COVID had other plans for our wedding date. So
Same.
that was the last time we spoke. But
You're right. We were actually having like a bridal shower episode because it was supposed to be for Mel's wedding,
And
my vow renewal,
your vow renewal.
and all of that has gone to. However, we still got our mans.
We still got the mans.
Come on.
We still got our mans in them.
And the same amount of children.
There
So.
you go. Same amount of children.
Because
That
there's
is
a
safe to say.
lot of COVID babies happening right now.
That is safe to say. And last but certainly not least, Beck Grossman. Oh, sorry, Beck Gross, I should say, not Grossman.
Okay.
Dr. Grossman's my dentist, and I
Jewish?
thought
'Cause
about
you
my
just
dentist. He
wanted
is.
her to be Jewish. He is
Yeah,
He's
no.
definitely Jewish.
And I was
So
actually
bad.
looking at Mel's teeth and looking at how
Rebecca
amazing her teeth.
Okay.
I'm just like, damn, I gotta go back to see Dr. Grossman. Dr. Grossman, welcome to the show.
I just thought about that. I'm like, my tooth is cracked, and I
Our
have to get
teeth
that
are really
fixed.
nice, aren't they? I
They
was looking at
are.
them. It's making me like, I don't want to smile.
Yeah, even you too, Beck. So do you like Rebecca better or just Beck?
It's kind of like, it's like a tier. It starts off with Rebecca, then it
Mm-hmm.
whittles down to Becca. People who know me best, it goes to Beck. And at this point, it's just like, it's Beck. Like, that's
Beck
just,
Gross.
Yeah, exactly.
I love
That's
it.
what
So tell us a little bit about who you are, Beck.
Well, my name is Beck. I'm a Cancer.
Oh, you are.
Oh,
I'm really
Lots of
excited to
amazing energy in
drop
here
that
today.
bomb. Yes.
Fellow Cancer.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Cancers in my family. Lance is a Cancer. My son's a
wow.
Cancer. I'm a Cancer, and my sisters-in-law, they're twins. They're Cancers.
a lot of
Wow.
emotions.
We have
That
all
is a
those
lot.
birthdays in 1 week.
Oh, dang.
Ooh.
It's a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot.
It's a lot. But it's great. I'm a wardrobe stylist, fashion stylist. I'm a mother of 2. I have a son who's 2 years old. I have a daughter who's 5, going on 6, really going on 15. Mothers of daughters, But yeah, I mean, I'm in the fashion world, but what my true passion is helping women and uplifting women. and my hopes is always to use my platform to do that.
And
I
you do.
love
I was gonna
that.
say, you
She
better
sure
say you're an
does.
advocate, because you
You sure
definitely
are.
are. You use your platform.
Oh,
You do
it's weird to
good.
say that about yourself.
No, it's not.
You know what I
Just
mean?
say it.
So we'll say
Well,
it for
well,
you.
Yes.
Beck is an advocate.
She is, and
For
you should
all
follow
things,
her.
Yes, all things amazing, all things the fight.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
have
I guess
been,
it just
like,
like
so
naturally
impressed.
happens, and it's it's just fighting for
part
what's
of who
right
you are,
and
yeah.
informing people.
Absolutely.
And yes,
There's some stuff you just can't fake. And
No.
it is what it is. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I love that you embrace that and you're empowering others
Yes.
through that. I
You
know I
stay
take
with
a
the
lot
info.
from that.
Me
Yes.
too.
I'm like,
oh,
voting's
Google that.
happening where? I was like, let me go to Beck's page. I know she
Yep.
posted about it.
Right.
And I reposted.
Yeah.
So I love
Okay.
that. I mean, think about this energy. I could just feel it in the room. And we've, like Melanie said, I don't know if this is off camera before or not, but the fact that we can gather together in a space like this, I think is amazing. So thank
So
you again
happy.
for being here.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for bringing us together.
No doubt. But listen, I'm going to go back to story time real quick. Let's rewind. Rewind. So, yes, the phrase, you allow your wife
That word.
to do this. Did that struck a chord with y'all? Because I felt it. You know,
Yeah.
I was looking to my left. How did that make you feel, Ashley, when people say your husband allows you to do something?
Well, I'm a Capricorn, so no one allows me to do anything, just so we're clear.
Okay.
But it's interesting that you say that, too, because I had to go on a journey of submission anyways, and what that means, and there's beauty in it, because I was raised, my father's in my life, I always have to say that, because anytime he hears something, and I say I was raised by a single mom, he gets mad. But I was raised primarily by my mom, because that's who I lived with primarily, but my dad was definitely in my life. But I think that played a role in me being able to receive information from men anyway,
Okay.
and being told what to do and being led by a man. So I definitely had to go on a journey of being able to just accept advice or anything from males. But when I went into my relationship with my husband, we were friends for 4 years prior to us being together. So I think that helped with us being very candid and open and honest with each other. But I don't let anyone tell me what to do. Like, he knows he has to strongly suggest something and leave it on the table and then let me come back to it. So I felt a way about that, because I think people really believe that, and some people believe that, and that's fine. I don't believe that I am my husband's property or that he owns me or that he tells me what to do. I think we are two equal souls, and there's parts of him that he's better at things than me and vice versa, and we feed off of one another. I don't live in a household of gender roles either. It's like whoever's better equipped to do something, that's the person who does it.
In that moment,
Yes.
for sure.
So it's not, and then when it comes to like how I express myself, he doesn't have a say-so in that. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I would never tell him what to do. Like, he doesn't even tell me like how to wear them. I actually don't even ask him his opinion about stuff, because I don't care.
I love that. Which is the tone. And my husband would agree. And he would be like, you know what, Ashley, thank you for admitting that. Because with me, I'll ask for the opinion just because I tend to be a little bit more indecisive. So I'm like, what do you
Same.
think? Stud earrings or hoop
Same.
earrings?
And then you go with your decision.
And I'll go with my decision.
Why'd you ask? Why'd you
Like,
even
I
ask
want to
me?
hear your opinion. However,
Cute. I don't want to hear it.
I'm going to do what I want to do regardless.
Anyway,
Right, I'm still gonna make my decision.
I got an argument for whatever you said, that
Right.
whatever you chose.
Right.
I got a reason why it should be the other one. So it
Right.
doesn't
That's
matter.
funny. My husband's actually the opposite, though. Like, he literally asked me my opinion about everything, and it drives me crazy. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Like, why? Like, I don't even like when people ask me for advice sometimes, because I'm like, do you not? What is in your spirit? Mostly because I just want him to be him. Like,
Right.
I love you. I don't care
Yeah.
about any of that shit. You know what I mean? Like, what pants you wear. It's okay. I buy all his clothes anyway, so whatever he wears is gonna be fly. I made sure of that already.
I have the eye.
Wink. The wink.
The wink and the
I
nod.
love it.
Doesn't matter because it's from an already approved arsenal.
Exactly.
I love that. So the dynamics are very different. What I appreciate about my husband is that he actually empowers me as well to be who I am. I would like to say that he hopefully fell in love with me for the
Right.
person that I am.
Exactly.
Though I will say that 18-year-old Kadeen is not 28-year-old Kadeen and is not Kadeen today. Not quite 38, but you know, we're pacing ourselves here. We're pacing ourselves.
Same.
So how do you guys feel about that? Melanie and Beck, either of you can jump in about this whole, you know, what your husband allows you to do. How does it work within your household and dynamic?
I think the word allow
Yeah.
is a trigger, right?
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
think that's the problem.
That was
there,
it.
Because I think that, you know, like, I do care about what my husband has to think, and he cares about what I have to think, and I'm
Right.
open to a discussion,
Right.
and I'm open to a conversation. And, like, you know, I think this is the trigger word, because, you know, there's certain things, like, if I just decide that I want to go out and get drunk every single night, and he doesn't approve of that, I might consider that.
Right.
And so I think consideration and partnership, and, like, you know, when we hear allow, that we're taught that that's like allowance and permission is given from parents.
Yes.
And,
Exactly.
like, that's not my parent, that's my partner.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, that's how I feel the healthiest relationships are, is that it is a partnership. Just like you said,
Right.
there's no like gender assignment as far as roles. Like
Right,
it's like if you're equipped to do something, then you do it, and I give you freedom to be that and
Right.
do that. And so, yeah, I think the word allow is like this very old, antiquated, very judgmental, like what will the neighbors think
Yeah.
Right.
type, you know,
Right.
mentality. And growing up with Caribbean parents, I mean, I was subjected to that a lot of my life.
You already
like,
know.
Right.
They
You
always
said
worried
that.
about what Paula and Paul thinking anyways.
Right,
you know?
right, exactly.
So, you know, it's
And
like,
I'm like, is Paula and Paul paying the bills?
Yes.
Right.
Like, let's just
You
be
know?
honest here. Yes.
so yeah, I just think I think it's that allow is the word.
The allow, I mean, pretty much to take off a little bit from what each of you have said, like the allow, it reminds me when it came in my wedding to recite our vows, and the pastor said, you know, the traditional thing that pastors say, and it was like to honor and obey, and it was to me, and it's actually a funny moment in our video because it's like,
Obey.
there's like this like a little bit of a pause.
Shots fired.
It was obey, and I literally made this face like,
Right.
and it gathered a laugh. People were laughing because it was just that specific word.
Right.
Of course, I'm going to consider what my husband
Right.
feels or thinks.
Right.
Like what you said, Melanie, about the consideration.
Right. I like that.
There are certain things I just would not do out of consideration for
Exactly.
my husband, out of respect for what I know his beliefs are.
Right.
Not because I'm not allowed.
Right.
Right.
And again, like, I'm not your child.
Right. You know, the funny thing is I said to Deval too, because we joked about, you know, this conversation. And of course, after, you know, this DM comes up,
Right.
I was just like, did they know that I held up the reflector
Right,
so,
right.
so it could shine on the booty
Right,
the way I
right.
needed it to shine on the
Hello.
booty. And then he was like, you better post
Right,
that shit, baby.
right.
You better own it. Because the only person that had many sons, as far as I know, was Abraham, Father Abraham.
Right.
And I'm not one of them. So what you're not going to do is tell me. You know what I mean?
My thing too is it bothers me when not only just between women and men,
Right.
but when we talk about allow,
Right.
this fan, he probably allows certain people that he looks up to in the celebrity world for it to be okay with certain people, right? Like, Kim and Kanye, or you can name other people who the men glorify their women and their sexuality, and people don't necessarily, it's not necessarily a conversation piece.
Right.
But then when it applies to, like you said, somebody who's expected, this weird expectation of what it means to be a mother and this and that,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to fit this mold, and yet that's not allowed, quote unquote.
Right.
Like, how does that make any sense
Right.
to you?
No, it doesn't.
You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
I think that poses a good question. Is like, okay, based off of Deval and I and the way we are, you know, on social media and sharing our narrative, sharing our story, and being on Black Love, for example, are
Right.
they holding us to a different regard,
Yep.
maybe,
Right.
when they see me doing that? But I feel like, you know, but this is who I am, though. Like, my husband embraces my sexy, and he wants me to
Well,
be
I
that.
feel like it's exactly the point of this entire podcast today is they were probably introduced to you as a wife and mother.
Exactly.
And whereas other people, we might be introduced as to, you know, it's a vixen, it's a singer, oh, she's on
Yeah.
stage, that's okay,
Yeah.
she's in costumes
Right.
all the time. That's,
Right.
that's cool for her.
Right.
Jennifer Lopez, she could be on a stripper pole as long as she wants.
Absolutely.
We're going to glorify her body. Ooh, she's
Yes.
50, look at her. And that is glorified. Nobody's doubting her parenting skills in
Right.
that moment.
Right.
That's okay. But then all of a sudden, you're not allowed to have a sexy photo where you look incredible and you should be confident and feeling amazing about yourself and unapologetic.
Right.
That's your prerogative.
Because let's face it, after having all these babies,
Right.
if you can then be confident enough to come back and say, you know what,
Child.
hey, I'm taking care of myself, whatever that looks like to me.
And that's a
I want to be
journey.
able to share it because let's face it, a lot of people are also looking to be inspired by your
Yeah.
content as well
Yeah.
too. So for the mom who may be struggling with the postpartum depression, or the mom
Yeah.
who now has the saggy boobs after breastfeeding
Right.
all her children, or
Right.
whatever the case may be, there can be a strength in that.
Yes,
that we should be
absolutely.
able to support each other
Right.
through it. You know, Ashley, when it comes to you having 3 girls now, because we talked about the dynamic being different here,
Right.
with Beck having a boy and a girl, Mel a boy, I have 3 boys with a girl. Are you super conscious about the way you carry yourself and maybe even portray yourself? Your kids are kind of young for social media, but
Right.
do you take into account how you conduct yourself on a day-to-day basis, even just around your husband,
No, for sure.
with your girls?
I mean, I do. I think it's interesting because I was raised Muslim. And so my dad is Christian, my mom is Muslim, so I literally had to go to church every Sunday and I had to go to the mosque every Friday.
Okay,
So
you had a loaded weekend.
Honey. And then my mom is like super worldly, so she was making us go into like Hare Krishna houses, and then she used to be Jewish. It's just a lot. So like,
But your mom used to be Jewish, and then she
and
became
Catholic. And
Yo.
So she was hopping
she's
around.
an Aquarius.
I was like,
I don't know
she's
if
an
that
air
helps.
sign, 100%.
Yeah, she's an Aquarius. I don't know if that helps you understand. She's like, I always call her the Black Mrs. Frizzle from the Magic School Bus. That's my mom in a tie-dye dress. She's
The
wild.
visual right now.
She's
I
a,
see
she's
your
a wild
mom.
one. That's
I
wild
love
right
it.
there.
I love it.
But no, I think because of that, I went through a journey anyways about what it meant to express myself as a woman. And just I used to wear a hijab for a long time until I was like 12. So like for me, I've always been, I don't like the term tomboy, but I've always been more masculine, I guess you should say, or whatever that means. I just wore baggy clothes. You know what I mean?
Right.
That just always translated more with me. I felt more comfortable that way because I didn't really grow up being able to show a lot of my body anyway. It's weird because I feel the most beautiful when I'm actually more clothed or when I have on like baggier clothes. And so I had to go through my own personal journey of being comfortable showing myself or just like wearing tighter things and what that meant to me. So for me, I don't even feel like I consciously think like, what is my child going to think of this? Because I already feel confident in the woman that I am respectful, and I'm honoring myself. And I think it's like with my daughter, it's so funny. Like it's just a lot of like mixed up things. Like at first I felt like with my oldest, she's 11, she wanted to wear like a crop top. And I find myself saying things and then I have to go back and think like, why did I say that? Do you know what I mean? Like, no, that's inappropriate, blah, blah. And I'm like, but
for her,
it's
is
it's
it?
just
Yeah.
a crop top.
Yeah,
I'd
right.
actually rather you wear that when you're 11, your stomach is bomb right now.
Right,
like,
right.
Crop top.
Because we have attachments to those things.
Yes,
you know what I mean? We have knowledge and insight
like
into
you know,
like
I saw somebody post about red nail polish, how that was like for
a
only
thing. Yeah,
it's like we have to
I remember that.
unlearn.
Right.
But you also know who your daughter is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna lie. Like I know a few family members who had their daughters running around in crop tops and they fast asses now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not.
We all have that cousin.
I know, we all know that family member where
That's
you're like
true.
you see the writing on the wall where like
Yeah.
they put so much at a young age
Yes.
into like the sexuality of themselves.
Yeah, and I hate
which
that.
which I feel like okay, there's a time and place to empower
No,
your children
11-year-old
away.
shouldn't be
like
embracing their sexuality.
But so,
calm down.
So this is what I'm saying.
Right.
Like you know who Amira is. You know what I mean? So you know that it comes from style. You know that it comes like it's not coming from I'm trying to be fast and like show more of my body.
Right.
You know,
It's totally innocent for her.
It's
Exactly.
innocent.
And that's why I had to check myself because she loves like I love menswear. Do you know what I mean? But like she loves fashion.
So were you the mom that your girls were wearing boy and girl clothes? Like, you know, like boy and girl, typical, like not all pink and whatnot.
90% of their clothes from the boys section. Just because I don't want my daughters having like unicorns with sparkles coming out their ass. That should be
Honestly,
whack.
it's like,
Like,
they can
should be
stop.
their clothes are so whack. I'm like, I want my daughter to get a fit off. Like, I'm not trying to have this
Right.
rainbows all over her and shit. That is not what we're going with today. So no, I buy 90% of their clothes from the boys section anyways, just because
Right.
the boy clothes are doper. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And they're just like, they fit better.
Yeah.
The t-shirts are cut better. But with Amira, she's 11 years old. I've definitely been learning more about myself. Like, she always wants to play in makeup and stuff. And at first I was like, and I'm like, she's an artist. She's a Pisces.
Yeah.
She loves
Right.
to draw. Like,
Yeah.
she just
Yeah.
likes to be creative.
Wow, she sounds like Berkeley.
Yeah,
This is
she
crazy
also
to hear.
skateboards and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just let
Yeah.
her be and exist. And I felt like my main goal is to just engage with her in the things that she finds interest in. Because like you said, I know that I'm raising her with a good conscious level.
Right.
And for me, it's more about like respecting herself and honoring herself and understanding the
There you go.
importance and value of herself.
Yes.
And that it should not be shared with everyone, whatever dynamic that means.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
And also being mindful. Like, I let her wear a crop top. It's not even really a crop top, but it was like
Right.
this much. Like, when she
Yeah.
lifted her arm,
Right.
you can see her little belly. But like, it's to the beach. So I'm like, well, you can wear that when we go to the beach.
Right. It's
Right.
appropriate for where we're going.
But I'm like, I wish my mom would have let me wear a bikini. Like, this stomach, this don't need to be in a bikini.
Right.
I will say this. I mean, for what it's
16-year-old
worth.
stomach back.
For what it's
Right.
worth, I see you uplift your 11-year-old all the
thank
time and
you.
encourage her.
Yes.
Like, you big her up. Like, you be gassing her.
Yes.
You be like, oh, my baby's so cute. Look how
She
fly you are. Look how
is.
cute you are. Look at you.
Yes.
Your style
With
is
them
so
curls
fly.
and
I know, I
whatnot.
love her hair.
And it's really beautiful. It's really
thank you.
important. Like,
It
and
is.
I hope you know that that's actually really important for empowering young women because, again, like, I love my mom. She did such a great job of raising us, but my mom also became a wife and a mother at 19.
Oh, wow.
And in the Caribbean. And so like her
That's whole judgment zone right there.
Yeah.
The perception of what it is, like, and it's so funny that she was so strict with me. Like, my mom did not let me cut my hair. I mean, my hair was down to my ass till I was 12.
Girl, I couldn't shave my legs.
She
Me
wouldn't let-
neither. My mom told me I was gonna get cancer. She's trying
No,
to.
I'm done. I'm done.
From
You know so crazy. I
The
was
razor?
She just said it. If you shave your legs, you're gonna get cancer. You know that old school bullshit.
Oh,
You know,
but you know what's so
why you
funny
do that?
is that like my mom, ironically, was because I played sports really young. So like I was running cross country at like 8, but I had hair on my legs, and I actually became very self conscious. And I'll never forget this. My mother shaved my legs for me, and I remember being like, oh my gosh, like I was so. But this was the woman that would never let me wear my hair
Right.
down.
Right.
This was the woman that would never let me like be too brazen. Like that was always her
She
way.
had
You're
her
too
own
brazen.
rules,
You're
yeah.
too brazen. You're too lasted vein. Like all these
Right.
things. It's like you want me to have this long hair, but you don't want me to you don't want me to revere it. Like,
Right.
but you want me to have
Just
it.
have it.
You know what I mean? Like, but it was
deep.
controlled. Like the deep like psychological thing about this is that I'm gonna give you all this, but I'm going to restrict it. It's always going to be in a braid. That's how my hair was.
Oh, wow.
All the time. And so like even like sexuality and like owning that sexy, like I had to break free from my house in order to really start to become my own woman.
Right.
Because
And to delve into what that meant
what
for
that
you
meant
to
for
be
me,
sexy.
and because like it was not encouraged. It was not encouraged. And like I had an older brother who was always trying to hold me down because he was like, "You're my little sister, so
Right.
if I find out you're dating anybody, I'm gonna break his and your
Right.
legs."
Right.
Like my mom was so strict about like the way little girls should be.
Yep.
You know, like this whole thing. And now my brother has 3 daughters, and you know this generation is just so progressive. They are so like, we don't see, we don't judge, we don't label, we don't. So they're constantly schooling my parents up now, and it's like really beautiful to see.
Right.
But it really does take unlearning when you
Yep.
are brought up a different way.
It's
and
funny
you
how
have
the-
to change that for your kids.
Yeah, it's funny how grandparents now are so much more lenient.
Ooh,
my
they're so
mama,
chill.
my mother with my children, I'm like, who is this person?
Right.
Who are you? Where is the woman that raised me?
Impersonator.
Like, this is a blast.
So since we were talking about wardrobe Beck, you being
Yes.
a stylist, a wardrobe stylist, there's a company recently that launched a new children's line
Ooh, oh, I don't even
modeled after women's wear.
You want to see it?
I don't even know
I didn't know
what we're
what this
talking
is.
about.
Oh, that
Oh.
shit. That
What do you
shit.
mean model
I'm gonna
after?
show you. It
So
took
pretty
me over.
much,
scared.
it's a brand that shows women's clothing. They sell women's clothing,
Yeah.
more provocative, fitted, crop tops, this, that, and now they have made children's clothes after the brand. So many of the outfits are, in my opinion, kind of risque for a child, for a
Okay.
little girl.
Okay.
So,
need
see,
to
Ashley's
see, yeah.
still pulling it
Should
up
I
here.
pull
With
it
my
up for
3
me?
daughters,
I
hell
had,
no.
You know?
I had to take it off of what's it called?
Airplane?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
you
So,
can
while
see
Ashley shares
this.
his face, so I
Yes,
say that
go
to
ahead,
say,
girl.
my husband talks about this imaginary daughter that we do not
Right.
have.
Y'all
but-
gonna
And
have
that she
one.
will not
Y'all
stop
gonna
at
have
this
one.
place.
Let's see. Who's putting stuff in the atmosphere? This
Yeah,
room
your
got
husband.
thick. This room got thick, thick, thick. So he always says, you know, what I don't want to happen when I have this child, this daughter, I don't want her wearing bikinis. I don't want her wearing this because of the way we over-sexualize
Yes.
our little girls.
Yeah.
So this particular brand now has clothing that mimics that of a woman, and the poses that they had the little girls in were a little provocative.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Do you notice any of that in the world of wardrobe and styling and how that affects children
mean,
now in media?
I notice it in the media, absolutely. I notice it as my daughter gets older and has her own opinion and wants to express herself. You know, when she's 2, 3, maybe 4, I'm the one dressing her. So it's like, oh, you're going to be in this cute little Sarah outfit, this or
Right.
that. But now she is a lot like how I was when I was little. She sketches, like Ashley was saying, her daughter
I
does
love that.
sketches, wardrobe and clothes all day long. And I used to do the same when I was her age. She has, you know, a top with a skirt and a this and a that. And it really is a form of expression for her. So yes, in 2020, there absolutely is a fine line. And it's hard as a parent to find a balance, you know. You know, you can't protect 100% just from what's out there, you know what I mean? Like she's hearing songs on the radio, even if it's a radio edit.
Right.
Oh, who's that artist?
Right.
Oh, I want to know who that. I want to know more. It's very innocent. I want to know who she is. I want to, you know, I like her music. I like to draw. I like this or that. And I mean, as a parent, it really is my job to navigate that and navigate it in a balanced way.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I let her see, hear certain things, and other things, no. Other things are off limits. When it comes to her personally expressing herself through wardrobe and fashion, because like we were discussing earlier, especially with girls, they are looking at us.
Right.
And of course, I walk out the door in a fashionable outfit when I'm going somewhere, and she also sees me at home when I'm not, and I'm in sweats.
Right.
And another thing that I like to make an effort with her is that, looking nice or putting on makeup or getting dressed isn't just for I don't like to only do that for special occasions, quote unquote, because I don't want her to feel like that's the only time that you are special is when you're done up, is when you put on your lip gloss or your clothing and your hair, or you know what I mean. So like that's a conversation that's been a very deliberate thing in our household,
right.
Which is she had a couple years ago where she was really into straight hair, and that was like that's a whole separate combo. But it was very stressful. I think I might have talked to you about it.
My daughter went through the same thing.
I was really stressed for like 4 months because that's all she saw in her Disney movies. Tiana, the only black girl, had a bun,
and she was an animal the whole movie.
Right, exactly. She was a frog. So,
animal the whole movie. That's true.
So that was like a discussion of like when was the time or the appropriate time for her to get her hair straight, and we actually ended up doing it during quarantine. I blow dried her hair and I straightened it just to braid it. It actually wasn't for her to wear it out. And I let her rock it for a day. And she was very excited about it. But it was a regular Tuesday.
Right.
We were at the house.
That's so good.
I didn't hype anything up about it being special.
Right.
More
Or
so
being that much more beautiful.
This is just versatility and different. And I like to apply the same to the wardrobe and the fashion, and that, hey, you can totally express yourself through that. And she really does. And that's, it can be a thing because she comes out the closet and she's like, I want to wear this. I wanted this with that. Aww. The stylist in me, sometimes not even having anything to do with being provocative, but I'm like, God, this doesn't match. And it's just like, oh my God.
But you know what, girl, if you feel good,
I
support you.
And so it's like, that balance of driving home, I want you to feel good. I want you to express yourself.
For sure.
I need to just zip it for a second and let you do you.
Yes.
But then as a parent, of course, I'm going to navigate if something is inappropriate for a 5-year-old.
Right. Because I've seen some people say on that, like, if I showed up to set and that's what they wanted my daughter to look like and dress like, then chances are I would have walked off set.
So update on the photo, because I'm just seeing the photo for the first time.
Right.
There's a lot of mesh.
Well, keep swiping. There's more, honey.
There's a lot of mesh.
You know what it is?
It was the back pose. It's the back pose for me.
You know what it is? It's because
and the posing.
Women nowadays they have so much exposure to fashion and these particular brands, and now it's like, oh my gosh, I want my daughter to dress just like me.
Well, that's weird.
And you know what I mean? But
the matching.
But I'll be honest. Like, see, I have a son, and I like to dress like a boy too. So I wear the same hoodie as my son, but it's unfortunately different for girls, and it just gets that way. And especially we have a society that we have not gotten to that place of trust where we can allow our young daughters to be in a space of vulnerability to predators, and this is just what it is.
Right.
Yep.
Okay,
absolutely. That's ultimately what it boils down to.
And so when they're young, as parents, we have the job of doing that. Like, we make those decisions.
And that's what I say about the navigating.
Exactly.
It's just like, you show me that. No, Berkeley will never be in that.
Right.
Will Berkeley be in a crop top? Yes.
Yes.
With a little oversized, I think I just posted something recently, a little oversized, button up and her little high waist cargos. Because she sees me wearing that.
Yeah.
Everybody's
it's cute.
But
it's fashionable. She feels like she's expressing
sense.
herself.
Right.
In our household and in our industry, it's totally appropriate.
Right.
But it is our job to navigate it. And sometimes she does come with a crop top and little shorts and a this or that, and we say, hey, can we swap off the pants?
Right.
That's just something we do.
Say, with Amira, what I got away from is telling her stuff is wrong or bad.
Exactly.
The conversation that I had with her is this, because she's 11. So I was like, listen, Amira, there are sexual predators. There's men out there who are inappropriate. And I said, for me, it's not about you can't wear it. I said, you have to be able to deal with the attention that comes with when you have it on. I said, so when you wear certain things, because I don't want her to ever feel that way. And I also don't want to make it seem like women that dress a certain way are deserving of certain treatment or that they should be judged a different way.
Thing.
I don't like that. What I'm saying is that, when they talk to you, your husband in your DMs, you're a grown woman. You can deal with that.
Absolutely.
I don't care about that mess.
Right.
But for her, it's like, I don't want you to have any attention that you can't personally deal with as you're growing and maturing, that stuff affects them, their self-esteem, and just in general, like, if I she would never, I'm a helicopter mom, she wouldn't be nowhere without me anyway, but you know what I mean, like, if she's just out with her friends or like playing outside, I just don't want that for her. So she understands that. I'm like, it's not wrong, it's not bad. Even the straight hair thing, like, I had to, so when I've always worn my hair natural and curly, I've never had a relaxer or anything like that, but like when I got pregnant with her, I started flat ironing my hair a lot because we all know it's just easier when your hair is manageable. I don't care what nobody says. It doesn't mean we don't love our black hair. When you flat iron your hair, you wrap it and unwrap it every day for like 2 weeks. That shit is
it's
easy.
just manageable.
Yes, it's just more. Yes, more manageable. That's the word I should say.
Or less steps.
Yes,
like,
it's less steps. Right, it's less steps.
And we all know we need less steps.
Yeah, and I was a young mom. I was 23, 24 when I had her, and I didn't want to do my hair. You know what I mean? And so, but she was like 4. Yeah. And she was like, Mommy, I want to have straight hair like you. I was like, who got straight hair? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh. Yeah. I stopped flat ironing my hair. I never flat ironed it again after that. And I had to wear it curly because I wanted, if I'm telling her I want you to love your hair. And then as she got older, then I'm like, it's fun to flat iron your hair sometimes. But just like you, I would not let her do it for like Christmas or if we went for a holiday. Like when I got married, I made sure that her hair was curly. Because I want her to feel like your hair is beautiful and can be worn
on special occasions.
Yes, this is not special occasion hair. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's the versatility. Hey, I'm in a mood. And that's how.
And now that's where she's at with it. Perfect. You know what I mean? Like now I let her flat iron her hair, but also I'm like, listen, it affects your curls. It's going to affect your curl pattern. Like all of these things are important for her to understand. So with the education, it's not judging our kids and making them feel bad for wanting things that are just a form of creativity. You know what I mean?
The education point that you say is probably like my biggest rule at the house.
Right.
You know, and even at a young age, my daughter's only 5, but we have conversations all the time, and I just want her to understand the root of whatever it is I'm telling you. Or
kids,
I love that
kids
you're talking about conversation. Yes, and I was about to say, Melanie, you probably can relate to this in that I grew up in a household where it was just like, you know, this is just what it is.
Do
like,
as I say.
Conversations were not really a thing to necessarily explain in detail why there was a method to this madness that our parents had. So I feel like our generation is very deliberate about having those conversations very openly and encompassing the entire thing. So with Ashley, it's not just a matter of like having straight hair on occasion because it's like here. Like, girl, your curl pattern's gonna be up if you keep flat ironing it. Like, keep doing it if you want to. But I think then there's a greater understanding that the kids can say, all right, well, there's a method to this madness. Mom is not just crazy. You know what I mean? There's actually a whole entire story here that they can unpack.
This is what I want to say. The 3 of you are probably not more advanced, but like the fact that you all think that way is really dope because my mom actually did raise me that way.
My mom too.
Yeah, I was gonna say my mom was like, yes, everything was a discussion. Even like I was just telling my homeboy Jarrell the other day, like my mom was playing Bob Dylan and she was like Lucy in the Sky. Like, do you know he's talking about cocaine? Like my mom was always like, music is art. And she would
What's that like?
It was amazing.
I'm like,
it was really
conversation, explanation.
It was amazing. My mom explained everything to me, other than the shaving your legs, you're gonna get cancer thing. That's what she's being petty. But other than that, my mom, she even told me, I'll never forget. My mom was like, you know, I don't want you to have sex. You need to honor your body. I want you to wait. She said, but if you ever have sex, you come and talk to me. I want to make sure you're okay. She said, if you ever get pregnant, come and talk to me. I want to make sure you're okay. Yeah, my mom talked to me about everything.
Yeah, I will be honest, I have never had the talk with my mother, and I got a whole man and a child. Like, I'm telling my mom, my mom has no idea. I don't think my mom knows when I lost my virginity. Like, I never went to her.
My mom was in the hospital with me. Because after I did, I told her, and she was like, well, we need to make sure you're okay, and took me to get a checkup.
And there was like no shade, no feeling of... Okay.
I was 18. She still was sad. She was like, I wish you would have waited till you were married. But she was like, I just need to make sure you're safe. Because my mom was a young mom. She had my brother, when she lost her virginity, she got pregnant with my older brother. She was 20. Right. She ended up moving away from her family, taking him to college. She had no support.
So she was deliberate about making sure you knew.
Sometimes people either continue a pattern or my mom was a breaker of patterns.
I feel like we have the same mom.
Yeah, we probably did.
Like, it's the same story. Yeah. Like, she broke the pattern. She grew up not having any communication. She grew up not being verbally lifted by her mom. She was put down a lot. So with me, it was lots of words of affirmation, and that's my love language now.
That's beautiful.
And so I feel like the skills that I do have came from her. Yeah. And mind you, in my situation, there was definitely still it wasn't like the mom, like there were like no rules.
Right.
It was like, we're friends. it was definitely, she was my mom. I
Right.
definitely, you know,
I ain't your
got
She would
friend.
definitely go get that ass.
Exactly.
I definitely,
Right.
yeah.
We got that level of
I
respect.
never got a whooping.
But
No. Did your mom
But you,
whoop you?
but you,
No.
but
I
you,
didn't get
my
whoopings
mom, my
either.
mom's white.
Oh, okay.
You
Well,
remember this.
My mom is whitish. Maybe that's why my mom was like that, because she's whitish.
What percentage was it again?
60%. Right? So,
Yeah,
you know-
if anything, it was like one spanking.
Yeah, or like use a firm
spanking.
voice.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
nah.
funny. Maybe that's what it
What's
is.
that?
What's that like?
Okay.
Back to Mel. What's that like?
that
We have
like?
no
Y'all
idea.
aren't like that though. But but listen, I was gonna say this when you were saying something earlier. Black parenting, Black existence is rooted in trauma. And even though you're from the islands,
Yes.
it's the same boat.
Same
They dropped
boat.
off at different
Yep,
locations.
that's it.
And so a lot of things that happen in the Black community, unfortunately, our parents weren't given the opportunity.
No.
And I always say this, like, because even though my mom is biracial, like, I know like how Black I am, whatever, I still exist as a Black woman. Do you know
Right.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, I know I have other heritage, but I don't have the luxury of being just carefree all the time. And I tell my husband that, like, it must be nice to just not care and just to be polite and happy all the time. But I grew up in the hood. First of all, you don't smile at people in the hood. Like, you got to mean mug other dudes so they know they don't try you. Like, because if you smile, that's like an invitation.
Right.
Like, nah, nigga, don't come across the street. Stay
Right,
your ass
right.
over there.
Right.
I'm not nice. I'm a bitch. Like, yeah,
Just
that's
so you
me.
know.
That's me.
Yeah.
So, but like, you have to be rough and tough and to survive. And so we don't always get the luxury.
Yes.
Even when you were saying like your moms, like how they were about your hair, it's because little Black girls were sexualized. They were taken from plantations. They were taken and molested and married
Right.
off. And so
They're trafficked now.
Yes.
Yes.
So imagine back then when you had zero rights.
Right.
So the way they parented their children and their daughters was out of survival. They're teaching you to survive in this world
Right.
with
Yep.
the least amount of anything
Right.
happening to you. Just how we are with our kids. Like I used to always say, you see kids in the restaurant. And it was always usually white kids like running around, being carefree, throwing shit across the table. And like your parents like, don't move, don't talk. Like you can't breathe. You're like in the damn military.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
Right.
because they were fearful. Like think about Emmett Till. He didn't even whistle at the woman. She came out and said he lied, and they killed that little boy over that.
Amazing.
And that
We
happens
just had this
every
conversation
day.
about generational
Yes,
trauma.
it is,
It's a
and
thing.
that is trauma based
It's a
parenting
thing.
Right.
that
And
we are breaking.
And the judgment part of it. It's just
Exactly.
like, don't be acting a certain way, the way that they expect you
Right.
to act. And
Right.
it's like, what?
Right.
Like, it's like the little Black boy in school gets labeled as problematic
Right.
when he's
Right.
bored.
Then he's
and
on
he's
meds.
really right, and he's really a genius.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's a lot of unlearning, but it's
Yeah.
interesting because as I've gotten older, like, and I have found my own independence, and I now am a mother and I'm raising a child. I really do understand and have more compassion for my mom.
Exactly.
Oh my
because
god,
of-
I give them so much grace now.
Because I'm just like, I can't even imagine what it was like,
Yeah.
and like how far that they've come, like how far she's come,
Yes.
how now that like I feel more confident within myself to sit and have woman to woman conversations.
Yes.
And that took a real identifiable moment. It was when I became a mother.
Yeah.
And I had to turn to her and was just like,
Yeah.
listen, I will always be your daughter, but I am a woman now and I'm a mother now, and I need you to respect me, and I need us to interact as such.
Oh my god, my mom and I had a conversation recently where she unpacked some things about herself and her life that really made me understand so much more.
So much more.
Yeah.
So much more about her and what makes her tick and why
Right.
she
triggers.
made the decisions that she made and why she moved a certain kind of way
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I will admit I used to judge her for.
Right.
Oh, for
Yes.
same. Yep.
I
same.
used
Yeah.
to
But
judge her
imagine
for.
had, maybe the way you parent your kids now, like imagine had she had that skill at that time.
Exactly.
Oh
to
my
just be
goodness.
like, hey, I'm not just telling you don't straighten your hair or
Right.
don't wear a crop top.
Right.
There is something behind it.
Right.
Or I
For
experienced
sure.
this in, ABC.
Listen, I love that she did that because then I was able to just see a little bit of a weight lifted off of
Yeah.
her too. And I just felt like, okay, mom, like this is cool. Like this is what we're doing in this generation now. Like I know
Yeah.
you might have been taught this all your life,
Right.
Right.
but it's okay. Like I feel like I want to provide a safe space for my mom to be able to say, you know what, Kay, this is why things are the way they are when it came to certain things that we were talking about. And it's funny because then I'll always look at her and I'll have those moments where I'm just like, damn, I'm like, we have more alike than I thought.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
like, do you have those moments where you're like, I'm turning into my mom?
Yes. Yes.
I am
The
my
same
mom.
shit
Yes.
that drove me crazy about you
But
before.
don't let your husband say you just like your mama.
know, right?
It's a problem. Don't you
That's Chea.
because you only try to say it when you
Yo.
know
Yeah,
some shit.
yeah.
Listen.
That's Chea. People like, don't you get mad at your mom for that? But like, do you want to stay married?
The best part is that my
it to
husband moved
yourself.
my mother cross country with
You
us.
know what?
And I'm like, you live with your mother-in-law now,
Yep.
bro. Like, that's admirable.
But you know what?
Because
But
of the
that's
stigma around mothers-in-law.
It is, but also, he also knows what's good for his marriage.
Yep.
That is a
And
fact.
you know what?
Smart man.
Because now you got help, and
Yeah.
now you
That
can
is
get
a
away,
fact.
and he can have his
That's
wife.
why my mama here
Shout
right
out
now.
to my baby daddy.
Shout out to the
Shout out
grandmas.
to the baby daddy and the
Shout out to the
grandmas
baby
holding
daddies.
it down.
Okay.
Back on the baby daddies, though.
Yes.
So going back to sexuality and how we got here to have all these children, apparently there was something that attracted our husbands
Right, apparently.
to us. You know what I mean? These
Maybe.
baby daddies, you know, we was throwing it up and they was catching it, right? So that
I
being
was
said-
not.
You weren't?
We meditated our baby. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
No physical interaction.
I love it. It was
You hear
on
that,
that kind
Amira?
of
No,
level.
I'm kidding.
So that being said, how are you guys with each other in the house in front of the children? Because that's one thing that my husband and I also have gotten criticism about. You know, he in a video, he'll walk up behind me, slap my ass, because he does that several times a day, and that's one of his ways of, that's his love language, you know what I
Right,
mean?
Ass
right.
slapping.
So, like, you know, does your ass get slapped randomly back, you know,
Yes.
during the day?
Yes.
What does that look like?
It's
for you
literally not
guys?
even a conversation. It's just
It's
like,
the nonverbal.
right. Well,
It's the
I-
nonverbal.
like with the kids, obviously Berkeley's old enough to even observe.
Right.
She knows that's just what grown folks do.
Yeah.
Like, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like, it's not, in my opinion, that's absolutely not inappropriate. The same way kissing and showing affection, in my
Right.
opinion, is
Yes.
not inappropriate.
No.
I know people who, for me, my parents weren't together, so I didn't grow up seeing
Same.
any affection because my parents weren't together. But, you know, I have friends who've grown up in households and they never saw their parents be affectionate or even, and they didn't notice it until later in life where they kind of look back like, wow, like, did y'all even love each other? Like,
Right.
or were you
It's a
just
real
kind of
thing.
going through the motions of a family and just
Right.
sort of like stuck her in this?
Right.
you
And then how
know?
that affects them now as an adult and their
Yeah.
interactions with the, you
So-
know, their person of choice.
Exactly.
Right.
And so I think modeling is huge. You know, do as I
Right.
Do.
what is it?
Do as I say, not as I do.
But you was gonna say, do as I do.
Yeah.
And what I say.
Do as I do and what I say.
At the same time.
At the same damn
Do as I
time.
do.
Is that different for you, Mel? Like, do you have a little boy? Because we have 3 boys. You have a boy. So,
So-
knowing how boys should conduct themselves when it comes to little girls is also a very big
that's
topic for us, too.
Yeah,
so
I haven't gotten there yet
we're
with my
very
2-year-old,
mindful.
so I don't know. Or
Right.
maybe the slaps
He's
will
busy
stop. I don't
eating
know.
seaweed, girl. He
Yeah.
ain't worried about no girls right
It's
now.
like-
London is a whole vibe.
If Jared slaps my ass, Cam thinks it's hilarious.
Right.
Like he
Right.
thinks
That's
it's
my
actually
boys
really funny.
too.
But you know, it's funny because I'll share this story because it's perfectly relative. The other night, Jared and I, like, cause Cam, he just will not stay in his bed. Like he wakes up, like if he goes to sleep at 8:30, 9 o'clock, it's like that 12:30, 1 a.m. It's like he goes to the top stairs. He says, guys, it's time to go to bed now. He tries to parent us, right? So one night we were like, God, we haven't even had some time together. So we were like, let's go to sleep early. So we ended up taking a shower together, me and Jared, right? But we like did not hear Cameron wake up.
Oh, Lord.
He busts in the room.
Oh, my God.
And like we weren't even doing anything crazy. We were having a conversation
Right.
about the day. Like
Right.
it was PG.
Right.
But we were in there together, and Cameron walked in and saw us in the shower, and he was just like, Mom, Dad, it's time to go to bed. Like
Oh, he didn't even
unfazed.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I just looked at Jared and I was just like, you know what? It's like Mom and Dad are taking a shower. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with this.
Right.
Like, this is normal.
Right.
They,
Love
they
that.
love
So
each
you
other.
guys, right. So
They're
we're packing
normalized,
more
yeah.
on it,
Yes.
more context behind it when the kids just kind of naturally
Yeah, like
see
he was
that.
just like, Mom and
Right.
Dad love each other. They sleep in the same bed. They're
Right.
affectionate. Like
Right.
it didn't be like, what are you guys doing in the
Right.
shower together? Like,
Right.
and I actually felt like that's a win. Like I want
Yeah.
him
Yes.
to know that his parents love each other and
Yes.
they're intimate and
That's
they,
beautiful.
you know, he doesn't need to see it.
Right.
But like,
Right.
but I
Right.
just
Don't
love
be
that there was
calling the
no,
police.
yeah, he wasn't like there was no like
wasn't alarmed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just like, okay, Mom, Dad, it's time to go to bed. Like
Right.
y'all in the shower, hurry
The
up, hurry
innocence
it up.
behind that, I think,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
amazing.
it's
I
really
love that.
sweet.
But you know, Deval and I are very conscious because Jackson now, he's getting older, he's 9,
Yeah.
and he does see us always, you know, displaying affection with each other.
Right.
And recently, actually, he was, Jackson would hate me for telling this story, but recently he was at, you know, a neighbor's house and whatnot, and they were sitting watching the TV, and he must have like went to put his arm like kind of around her, just because like that's what he sees Daddy do. You know what I mean? Like
so
being a total
innocent.
It's so
gentleman, and like, you
innocent.
know, of course he was in a supervised environment. Naturally, we
Yeah.
trust, you know, that they're
Yeah.
fine. They were in the living room and everything, common space. But it was just that, you know, he felt like, okay, because Dad does this with Mom, like that's just what
Yeah.
people do.
Yes.
But then it had to be a conversation with him
Right.
and Deval after, like, okay,
Right.
Like it
so
ends
this is-
there, right?
so I understand that you've seen this with, you know, Mommy and Daddy,
Right.
but now we need to unpack what this is for a boy and a girl.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Boundaries, the
That's
conversation
parents.
of boundaries,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Consent,
consent, boundaries, all of that conversation had to come up. And I was almost like in tears over this because I'm like, wait a second, like, why are we having this conversation now? And like, you know, and some parents may just laugh it off and say, oh, it was a funny kid moment, but raising a black boy in America, what we're not going to do is just have them just doing stuff, which to them may be innocent, but can totally be.
But no boys should be. You're parenting them. There is a privilege that does come with whiteness and lightness. Yes. Do you know what I mean? And that often puts, but just sidebar, that is why people have those experiences when they work in corporate, because when people have never been told that that's not okay, they're really like, what do you mean I can't say that to you or touch you that way or whatever? So everyone should be parenting their sons the way you are. You know what I mean? Like all races. That should be a conversation that happens. Yes. It's super important.
And I just think that there are just those moments where the conversation arises. You know, like it's innocent.
Right.
It was innocent when he did that, and that was a perfect opening for you to now educate
have the
him,
conversation.
so he has some context.
Right. So it's not like unloading just randomly, but it's like we also have a policy. It's like you see it, you say it. Like, don't delay. Let's not talk about it later. And Devon and I have that within our relationship, so we parent our children the same way. So it's like in this moment, you understand how it felt.
Right.
You understand that it may have been good or bad, whatever the case may be, but we talk about it in that moment. I think that's so important across the board, whether it's girls you have, whether it's boys you have, all that good stuff.
Although I will be calling you in 6 years, okay? I'll be like, girl, how do we handle this situation?
I mean, speaking of that, I think we might as well, Ashley, you and me, I got 3 boys, you got 3 girls. I totally understand why people arrange marriages because I want to make sure that, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to have a daughter-in-law, she got to be from good stock.
Yeah, that's what I say that all the time, too. I'll be like, one of my friends, I was like, nah, my daughter ain't marrying your son.
We could be cool, but
it ain't gonna happen.
Cool no more.
Like,
that's part of the reason.
Like you might have been cool now, but you a little raggedy now, so we don't know where you came from.
No.
Girls, this
That's
has been like
hilarious.
such a great conversation. I'm like clocking the time here, and I don't want this to be over. But unfortunately, I can't hold y'all hostage forever.
Okay, wait. I want to say something.
This is
I
my
wanna
me
say
time.
something.
I want to go home.
I want to say something about finding the sexy because I think
Okay.
it's really important. And I remember like this
Absolutely.
came up for me in a therapy session with my therapist.
Okay, now
And
therapy is a thing.
Yes.
It is a thing.
I
and
wouldn't
it's
be
important.
married if I didn't go to therapy.
Hello.
There we go.
Okay. And so something that the therapist told me, this was like 3 years ago, and it was 2 years ago, and I remember I was just feeling, I was like, I just don't know. I'm not feeling confident about myself. And like, you know, and I was telling her, I was like, I feel like I'm lacking the discipline. Like I say that I want to be a certain size or look a certain way, but like I showed up here with a muffin, right? And she was just like, you're trying to control the situation because you feel out of control. So you eating the muffin makes you feel in control because you don't feel like you're in control otherwise. And so she was like, I want you to stop waiting to feel good about yourself.
Right.
And I was
like
like,
it's over here.
it's on the other side.
Yes.
She was just like, I don't care. She's like, stop waiting to get to a size to go buy the outfit that you deserve. She's like, go find an outfit right now that makes you feel sexy.
Do you know that you told me that?
Did I? Was it me?
Yes. So when I was pregnant with my last daughter, because I definitely suffer from body dysmorphia from ballet. So I always think that I'm bigger than I really am. And because I was dancing all day long, I never had to go to the gym. So even after I like stopped doing ballet, I had to learn how to work out, make that because my lifestyle was working out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I worked out a lot with the first 2 with because of Asia was so close. They were like 20 months apart. I had like this pelvic separation thing that it was hurting. So I couldn't work out a lot because I could barely like walk. And I only gained 25 pounds when I was pregnant, but it didn't matter. Like I didn't gain the weight until after I had her because I was still injured. So normally I would just start working out. So I'm still eating, breastfeeding, and I gained like 30 pounds.
Wow.
But when I was pregnant, I was still feeling like not my best. And Melanie was like, Ashley, you need to love yourself. And I was like, well, I don't, if nothing fits. She said, then go buy something that fits you and feel good about how, and even afterwards she said something to me again because I said something to her about it. But it's really hard to like love yourself when you have an idea of how you used to look or what you know what I mean? Like that is a real journey of accepting the way you look, accepting stretch marks, accepting that your breasts don't look the same, like all of that.
Right.
And then finding things that fit you and make you feel good with
so
the body that you have.
funny you guys say that because as a stylist, obviously I dress people of all different sizes, but my main thing is really and truly people feeling good about themselves.
Exactly.
And I actually did this IGTV episode of like just a little talk with my best friend, and it's that exact topic. It's about dressing for your current,
I saw it.
You're dressing for your
And I
current
bought some
size.
clothes
I
that
saw
fit
that
me.
too.
Yes.
Yes, I saw that
You
too.
never know who you're. I literally saw it and was like, I'm
because
about to
I
buy some
knew
bigger
that
jeans.
a lot of people weren't thinking that way because they're thinking about the way that you're describing, which is how you feel after, especially after you have a child.
Right.
Your body's completely different and you don't know how to dress your body. You maybe don't feel confident. Nothing fits. And like you said, you think happiness is once you lose the weight.
Once you get to
once
a place.
I get to that.
There you go.
And it's like, why sit in that for year 1, year 2, year 3 when, hey, why don't you find something that fits your
Right
current
now.
size?
Right now.
And don't let the number, that was like one of the main topics of my little
Wrapping
thing.
our
It was
mind
like
around the number.
the number, like,
Yeah.
oh, I used to be a size 25 jean and now I'm a
Yep.
32. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes the confidence can actually come from just
Yes.
embracing that moment and putting the effort into that moment versus
That's such a great way to look
over
at it.
here.
Yes,
you know?
so-
Because I never bought bigger clothes.
Because you're like, oh,
Well,
yeah.
no, that's how I kept myself the same size.
Right.
So anytime my pants started to get thicker or
You're
like
it's
tighter,
time to-
I'm
time
like,
to
I
lose
need to
weight.
wait.
gauge.
I got to
Yeah.
run a little bit more.
That
And
was
that's
the
not
gauge.
necessarily an unhealthy thing because it's a good way to monitor, like, you know, you don't want to just be unhealthy if
Right.
you're, especially if it's an unhealthy practice. But also, like, I had a baby.
Right.
So it's like, that's
Give
crazy.
yourself some grace.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm just not going to wear clothes until I can fit into them.
Right.
Like, that's actually
And that's how
crazy.
we end up in sweats for 3 years straight.
Right.
Like,
Well,
and
I got on
I
bike-
can relate.
I
Like,
got on biker shorts
It's
now.
so funny because like after having Cam, like my breasts, I'm gonna toot my own horn. They used to sit up and they were like
You still
nice.
got nice boobies.
No, but you see, I never
I saw
had.
you twerking in the thing in that bathing suit. and
But
I
you
was
know,
like,
but you know,
Melanie,
but you know what's so funny is that a girlfriend of mine, she was like, "Yes, let the titties live," and I was like, to me, I'm always like, "No, they're so much bigger than they were. I don't know how to wear big breasts," and
Right.
like that is a thing. So like again, like. We're always so critical of
Yeah.
ourselves, and I just feel like we have to totally encourage one another to be like, listen, style yourself for how you
Yes,
are right now.
right
Make
now.
yourself feel good today, girl.
Today.
We know that tomorrow ain't promised.
It's so true.
Okay, and you don't
Girl.
want no one to be sitting here with lack of self-love today.
I love
so
it.
I just want to like encourage.
Take that picture.
Yes.
Post that
it.
Let your husband
Drop
like
it when he
Whoever,
says drop it.
Do
Right.
what you gotta
Drop
do.
it when you want to drop
Right.
it. Okay, because ain't nobody allowing you to do nothing.
Hey, that's the fact.
That is when I listen to Chea tell me what to do.
All right now. There you go.
Now that's when it takes charge.
That's when it takes a turn.
there's a time and a place.
Exactly. All right, y'all. So we're back for listener letters. This is where people write in and they have questions, they have stories. I mean, let me tell you, I ask for people to give us context sometimes because they have a question and I'm like, well, I don't know how to answer this question. So we getting lots of context apparently. So listen closely to this one. She gave us a whole sonnet about what's happening here. All right, my ex-boyfriend and I recently just graduated from college. He broke up with me about a year ago because he said he wanted to just focus on himself and figure out who he is and what he wants. We're also long-distance couples, so I'm sure that had a lot to do with it as well. I'm at the point now where I've tried to move on and talk to other people, but I just cannot get him out of my head. Oh, baby. I know this may sound crazy, but I do believe that he's the one I'm supposed to be with forever. From the moment we broke up, he said that he wanted us to still remain friends. It did not work out well at first, and we ended up spending several months not communicating at all. I was just so angry and hurt that he wanted to end up blocking me on everything. These past several months, we started communicating again, and it's going pretty well. For the most part, it's been pretty casual. We just text every now and again, maybe a phone call here and there. I mentioned us getting back together, and he's pretty adamant about us just being friends. But I'm still so in love with him that I don't know what to do. I feel like a crazy person because how could I be so in love with someone and he just feels nothing? Is being friends even a good idea at this point? Or should I just cut off communication completely and let God handle it? Yes. I am honestly afraid to do that because what if he never comes back? What should I do?
Is she a Capricorn? 'Cause we don't be having a Lego
She
spirit.
left that out of the equation. Next time y'all
It's-
writing, y'all, please drop your
sign?
signs so we know what the hell is going on. That's going to give us more context about who you are.
Oh man.
Anybody
Go
want to jump
first.
in?
Yes, I feel very connected to sis. I've only been in 2 relationships, and I'm just a person that learns very quickly, but not. But I was in my past relationship for 8 years. I was definitely like that. My friends, I'm always telling my friends, like, thank God that I let go of my stalker tendencies. But like, for real, like my ex and I were together for a really long time. That's the first person I was ever with. So I think that I felt like I had to be with him. I had to make it work. It made me feel better consciously. Like, oh, I won't be sleeping with a lot of people. And if we get married, I was young. We were together from like 16 until I was 22. And so I understand that because I remember when he broke up with me and then I was like crying and stuff and then we got back together. And in retrospect, I feel like he told me later anyway, but like he loved me, but he wasn't ready to be in a committed relationship. And because he loved me so much, when he would see me sad, he would like get back with
Yeah.
me or
Yeah.
like keep the communication.
Yeah.
Right.
And it
To
creates,
almost pacify
yes,
you.
it creates a toxic circle.
Has to be a clean break.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until my sister passed away and I just moved to New York. Like, it was like the last breakup we had, and I was like, I have to be away because it's like an addiction. I feel like I was addicted to him. Do you know what I mean? And like, I just wanted to be together, and he kept getting back with me and then cheating on me because I think he just didn't really want to be with me. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I couldn't accept that, and we were both so young, and he didn't know how to articulate that.
Yeah.
And so my best advice to her would be to just, you have to do something to allow yourself to let it go. If you need to like block him until you're strong enough, you know, to see him, but he's telling you right now what he wants, and it's not to be with you.
I appreciate
and you
his
have to accept
honesty.
that. Yeah, he's being honest.
And I
He
feel
doesn't
like
want to be
at
with
that
her.
age, I just think of myself at that age, and it's funny when I heard the story because that was my situation with my ex-boyfriend in my 20s, or my teens and my 20s in college. That's how I broke up with him. It was basically, there wasn't any crazy moment. It was just, I was at that place where I wanted to experience the world, and I feel like at that age, when you're in a long-term relationship, your identity really is intertwined, and that's probably why she's having such a hard time breaking away from it, because he is her identity.
Same
like,
for
who
me.
is she without him? And so, you know, she might think, oh no, it's just because I love him so much, this, but maybe she just really doesn't know herself enough to be able to identify, like, you know, who am I without this person?
It's
And,
comfort.
you know what I mean?
It's comfort. It's attachment.
It's familiarity.
It's familiarity.
Yeah.
You know, if he is the only person she's been with, they've been
There you
together
go.
for a
And
long
the
time.
reality
you
is,
can't
like,
let that go.
if you're thinking long term, if you're thinking like, I want to be with this person forever, you don't want to be with anybody forever without having experienced the world. That's just
That
like
is
my
true. That was the
personal-
struggle Devale and I had too. We got together when we were 18 years old, and I remember his mom always saying, "Who are you two as individuals, though? Like, do you even know who you are as individuals?"
Right.
And years later, we always say we wish we had that moment where we were just exploring who we were as individuals first.
But I feel like
sure.
you probably within your relationship did do that.
Right. But we had to give each other. It's hard.
But it
And
was
most people
probably-
don't make it to where
That shit
y'all
is
are
hard.
doing
That's
that.
what I
Yes.
mean. Like, I feel like those problems arise in different ways in a
Right.
relationship when
And it
that
depends on the
hasn't been
person.
done, right?
Yeah.
And so that, you know, I was the person doing the breaking up in that situation, and that really was, I wanted to see the world without having someone attached at my hip. I loved him, I cared about him, but it was like, what if my friends say, hey, let's go to Europe?
Right.
And I'm like,
There you go.
wait.
But you have to think about it now,
There you
too.
go.
That's just not your person, because when you are with your person, whether it's at 18 or 45 or 30, you make a way to do these things. You're like, oh, I want to travel
You have
the
the
world
desire.
with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I want
Right.
to go with my homegirls and you. Like, Chea
Right.
is my best friend, and I literally,
Well, she
we're
might
like,
feel that way, though.
yeah, but he doesn't feel that way about her. And
Right.
so,
Sorry.
he
That's
doesn't.
just what it is.
No,
Yeah.
and you got to be
No,
blunt.
that was the
My
clarification.
friends had to
Yes.
be like, girl,
Yeah.
He don't want you.
She don't
Right.
want you.
Right.
let go.
Right.
Like, have
Right.
some self-respect.
True.
Like,
Right.
that's, and
True.
you got to be real with people sometimes. Like, that is not your
Yeah.
person.
Right.
And you will find your person. When
Right.
I was
But
with
actually,
Chea, just,
this is just spiraling us into the moment of
Sorry.
truth here.
Sorry.
That-
Wait,
I
I have something that I want to tell sis that I think is different from the other two.
Yes.
I think the two things first of all, I believe that when you break up with somebody, you have to break up with them.
Yeah.
I believe the lingering only makes it harder. It allows for confusion, and that really sounds like where she's at. And I really feel like, I know it sounds cliche, but it's like the idea of non-attachment is so important for us to have in order to evolve as people. And so when you, nothing is guaranteed and nothing is promised, and like what we believe might be true for us, just there is a divine bigger plan. So like you've heard that saying, like, if you let something go and it comes back to you, then it was yours. And if
Right.
it never does, then it never
Right.
was. And I just that's what I would just encourage her to know. And I'm telling you, like, from experience, like, Jared and I had to actually take a break to get to where we are today at the beginning
It
of
was
our
needed
relationship.
to be where you're at now.
It was needed, and that was the first time I ever sent someone off without like resentment or anger. Like, even though I was disappointed and heartbroken, and the day that he drove away and left, I cried and drank a bottle of wine and was like writing in my journal all day long. But like, it worked out. It came back, and it was without my intervention. It was without my persuasion. I told him,
naturally.
I told him, do not call me. We are not friends. Don't call me about the weather. Don't check
Right.
on me. I'm fine.
Right.
And I was like, but when you show up, if you ever show up again, you better show up 100%.
Right.
And so when he showed back up, homeboy was playing no games.
Okay, now.
And so
And it
I-
took
so
that
look at y'all
to
now.
mold
Exactly.
him into that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like-
And so I just want to just give her the confidence to like find the trust in like in detaching, in not trying to control the situation.
Yes, that's
I love
good
that.
Just
advice.
surrender.
That's really good.
Just
So
surrender.
Self-respect is something you were talking
Yes,
about, having the
yes.
dignity to say, you know what,
Yeah.
I'm an amazing person. I can detach from you and just, you know.
Because if he does come back, like you said, you want your partner to respect you,
Right.
and so
Or
he
want
will,
you.
or want
Right.
you, right?
And
Like
I-
give him a
I
chance
like a
to
good
miss
chase.
you.
That's
And
a
guess
good
what?
chase.
It's,
Figure out that he-
it's devastating when you feel unwanted.
Oh, for sure.
So of course she's gonna be, grabbing
Yeah.
and like fighting for just maybe the little morsels that are left in the
But
relationship.
when you take a step back and be like, I'm not begging nobody.
Right.
There you
You
go.
know what I
Right.
mean?
It
Like,
has to
I'm
click.
deserving of someone
There
that
is
wants
power
me
in
just as
that.
equally as I want them.
But do you also want to be in a relationship where every day you wake up wondering why he's there?
Right,
Is he
right.
there to pacify you?
Right.
Is he there because he really wants to be?
Right.
Like,
Yes.
let that man show up how he wants to when he's
Right.
through. And if he doesn't, he's made it clear, and it's okay.
Yes, you will find your Chea.
'Cause
You will
why-
find
you will
your DeVal.
You will find
Your land.
You'll find your Jared.
Come on, you will find
You will
your
find
land.
There we
Find your
go.
land.
We all found that's the moment of truth. We all found our people. And they're here because they want to be
Right.
here.
Wanna be
Right.
here.
and we be dropping it.
That part. Don't
on
let them
demand.
tell you different. Don't let them tell you different, because if that was a lie. Thank you, ladies, so much. Real
Thank
quick, give me
you.
your handles so everyone knows where to find y'all.
I'm at Beck, the letter M, gross.
I'm at Melanie Fiona.
I'm at Watermelon Egg Rolls.
By the way, when you follow her on Watermelon Egg Rolls, you won't understand why.
No.
That is exactly the perfect definition.
To come after all the names and then
Way to close
Watermelon
out,
egg rolls.
Ashley.
Watermelon egg rolls.
Way to close this out.
The unit.
If you'd like to be featured as one of our listener letters, be sure to email us at deadassadvice@gmail.com. I love it. And for those of you also following Deadass the podcast on social media, be sure to follow us at Deadass the podcast. And of course, I'm Kadeen, I am. And I'll give you DeVal's handle even though he's not here because we spoke very highly of him today. We did. I am DeVal. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, tell your friend because we had the ultimate girl chat today. I love y'all so much. Thank you again.
Thank you for having us.
Dead ass baby. We out of here. Back to them babies.